Hey guys, what is going on? Jurgen from ZurGrinoSports here, and today I'm coming at you with the March 26th, 2021 edition of a Smackdown review. Quickly before we get into the review, let me know what you guys thought of Smackdown down in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? And all that stuff. If you want to join the Discord, link in the description. Follow me on Twitter, link in the description. But without further ado, let's go ahead with the review. So, SmackDown was okay. It was decent, actually. Based on, just having watched it. It is 10:03 my time as I'm recording this. So it just ended 3 minutes ago. So, you know what I mean? Just happened. Right now it feels good. Maybe when I run through it, my opinion will change after I run through all the events, but fresh in my memory, it was a decent SmackDown. We started things off with a promo by Daniel Bryan, and he comes down to the ring with a chair in hand. He says that at Fastlane, everyone saw the truth. They saw what Roman said would never happen and had never happened before. Roman tapped out. He said that Roman said that, before he'd rather die than tap out to somebody like Bryan. But good news, he's alive, and he tapped to Daniel Bryan. In a perfect world, that means he'd be standing in the ring as Universal Champion, knowing he would head to Mania, but those things are not true. And why? Because of Edge hitting him with a chair as he made Roman tap out. Edge, he mentions how Edge said Bryan wasn't doing things the right way, how Bryan should just stand by and let this dream match happen and stuff, but Bryan's had enough of doing things the right way, of standing on the sideline while people get a dream match that they didn't earn. Meanwhile, Bryan earned an opportunity at the Universal title. He earned the title win by making Roman tap out. He earned the Mania main event. And he's willing to earn it again. He doesn't want anything handed to him. He doesn't want the title awarded to him. He doesn't want the main event of Mania given to him. He wants a rematch tonight for the Universal Championship, and he's not leaving the ring until he gets what he wants. And then he sets up the chair, sits down in the chair in the middle of the ring. We go to commercial. We come back. He's still in the ring after the commercial. Sits in the ring for a little bit. Commentary's like, brother, just lick your wounds and leave. Graves was saying, like, just roll with the punches, brother. Just get out of the ring. Let's get on with the show. Pierce comes out, says, listen, Bryan, I can't give you a rematch. Bryan says, did you not see him tap? I can get the guys in the truck to, show you a replay. He's like, no, that's not necessary. But unfortunately, the ref's decision is final. Roman Reigns' next title defense will be against Edge at WrestleMania. And then Bryan's like, oh, okay, yeah. So the next title match is at Mania. Okay, how about this? How about I immediately challenge the winner of the match? Pierce is like, listen, of all people, you should know that's unfair. Of all people, you'd understand. And Bryan retorts with, okay, so it's fine if I have to, have a title match immediately after 40 minutes in the chamber, but I guess that's too hard for Roman and Edge. There seems to be a little bit of a double standard, but how about this? You know what I mean? On night one, the winner of that match, they fight on night one. The winner of that match fights me on night two. Edge then interrupts, knocks the microphone out of Pierce's hand as he makes his way to the ring. And as I flip my page on my notebook, Edge gets in the ring, demands a mic from the ring staff around the ring. And he says, he sat back for a month listening to Bryan trying to be altruistic and all that stuff. He says how Bryan says that it could be his last Mania, but each and every single match that Edge has in this ring could be his last. He says, it's 10 years to the day on night 2 of WrestleMania that he had to retire, and the last 10 years he's fought to get back, and it's his dream. He says he won the Rumble, outlasted everybody, including you. You don't deserve to be in it, you son of a bitch. Bryan then takes down Edge. They brawl a few seconds, then they get out of it. Edge spears Bryan. Edge hits Bryan with a chair on the back while he's on the ground, and then exits the ring. So in terms of Bryan wanting to be in the title picture, wanting a rematch, I like that. Bryan's part of the promo was fine for me. I like that he brought down the chair. I like that he said he would hijack the show until he gets what he wants. I don't like that this opened the show, though, because when you open the show with awkward silence and like a pause to the show, it's just immediately at the start of the show, you just take all the life out of it. If this was happening maybe in the middle of the show, you know what I mean? Maybe it would fit a little bit better. Granted, they had to build to Pierce making a decision all night, which we'll get to in a little bit. But yeah, it's a weird way to start the show because it does make sense that he would hold it hostage. Like I that makes perfect sense to me. He's like, listen, man, I've been done wrong by. I want a rematch. I want to earn my shot. I'm going to stand in the ring until you give it to me because I know that I deserve it and I know that's the right thing to do. I get that. It's just when you start the show, he cuts his promo for like 5-10 minutes and then he just sits in the ring. We go to commercial, we come back and he's still just sitting in the ring and you have no crowd there, obviously. You have some piped in noise, but no crowd there. And you just have commentary being like, brother, let's get things out the way. It's just the start of the show isn't really the right spot, in my opinion, to do stuff like this. Maybe middle or towards the end of the show might be a little bit better of a spot for this. So the placement of that stuff happening wasn't too great for me, but overall, the fact that it did happen was good. Bryan's motives were correct. The Pierce stuff was a little bit shitty, but Bryan called it out at least, so that's the good thing. You know what I mean? It's not like Pierce was like, "Hey Bryan, we've made you jump through hoops, but we're not gonna make anybody else, brother. Get fucked." And he's just like, "Oh, okay, fair enough. I'm gonna go back to catering." Like he was like, "I have to jump through hoops, but they're getting the carpet laid out for them. What's going on here?" So they had Bryan call it out, which is good. Edge getting in the ring and cutting his promo after turning heel, presumably, right, at Fastlane. I don't know how he couldn't be heel. He was more aggressive with his tone and his delivery, more of a heelish demeanor. And the fact that he is so not egotistic, but like he only cares about himself. Narcissistic, maybe? Is that the word? Narcissist? He's so it's only about him. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what Bryan does. It doesn't matter what Roman does. It's my dream, my this, my that, my this. So that leads into being a heel. With the way that Edge is doing it. So I like that as his driving force for the heel kind of thing. So other than the fact that they did the whole stop the show at the beginning of the show gimmick, I thought that was a good promo thing to start things off. So, and then we get a storyline throughout the night that we build up to in the finish. So other than the placement at the start of the show, thumbs up from me for how we started things off. Then we had Roman and the boys, basically Heyman and Jay backstage, where they showed a little bit of replay after they came back from commercial, and then Roman tells Heyman to go bring him Pierce. Heyman leaves, and then he tells Jay to go with him. Use force if you have to. Jay's like, "You sure?" Roman's like, "What are they going to do, fire us?" And then he kind of scoffs, and then Jay's like, all right, bet. And then he leaves. Then we had Seth versus Shinsuke for absolutely no reason other than, Vince being like, "Hey, let's do rematches of pay-per-view matches on Raw every single time we have a pay-per-view for no absolute reason." You know what I mean? They explained it on Monday, at least, with the Braun and Elias thing, with Elias being like, "Hey, I didn't get time to prepare. I got time to prepare this week," or Shane telling him that at least. That made sense. This one didn't really make too much sense. They just did it again. Granted, they had a good little match in the time that they were allotted. I mean, Seth wins again in a clean match, clean win, but it was a competitive match. Seth goes for the post-match beatdown, but Cesaro comes in for the save in a dress shirt and dress pants. They brawl for a little bit, and then when Cesaro goes for the swing, Seth escapes and then gets out of the ring and kind of crawls away. Cesaro yells that he's a coward out to the ramp while he checks on Shinsuke and stuff like that, and then that's how that goes. So, I mean, the match was good for the time that it was allotted. Seth and Shinsuke. Shinsuke started the match off this time a lot more aggressively, and he had the upper hand until the first commercial, and then Seth kind of got back into it after that first commercial. So, yeah, man, it is unfortunate that Shinsuke is just kind of a pawn in the Cesaro and Seth feud. You'd hope for better for Shinsuke, but yeah, man, it looked like they were going to do something good with him when he won that gauntlet with the Pierce stuff, but I don't know, they changed their mind, I guess. Maybe they were going to give Shinsuke the push until they were like, oh shit, people really like Cesaro, let's give it to him instead of just giving both a push, you know what I mean? But I don't know. Maybe they didn't know that they were going to do Bryan in the triple threat this whole time. Maybe they were going to have Bryan as somebody that Roman beat on the way to beating Edge, and then they were just like, oh shit, blah, blah, blah. You know, maybe they didn't think of inserting Bryan into that feud a little bit. I don't really know what the reasoning for the, sudden start of a push and then even more sudden canceling of a push for Shinsuke was. But, good match quality. Unfortunately, he gets a loss. But, Seth does need to look strong, so Cesaro looks even stronger when he beats him at Mania. Hopefully, Vince, don't fuck that up. So, yeah, man. And then we had Roman and Pierce backstage after Pierce gets in the ring. Paul Heyman says that Pierce was about to make a stupid decision and he didn't, and they thank him for that. Roman stands up, gets in his face. He says, no, we don't thank you. You thank us. And let me make this clear. The reason I called you here is to make this clear. At Mania, you get me for one night and you get me for one title defense. And then Pierce is, and now you get to thank us. Pierce is like, yep, cool, I get it. But I got things to think about, so everyone will know my decision by the end of the night. And then that's a little backstage segment there. I like Roman putting his foot down and being like, listen, you're not booking me 2 nights at Mania. I'm not defending it twice. You get me one night, one defense, period. Got it? Good. I like that from Roman, just putting his foot down and kind of, enforcing how he does have some pull. Then we had a quick Seth backstage interview where he was asked if he was surprised by Cesaro getting involved. He says no, he was not surprised, but he's sick of the disrespect and being embarrassed by Cesaro, so he challenges Cesaro to a match at Mania where he will teach him a lesson. Cesaro hunts him down backstage, though, gets him down and swings him backstage, and then accepts his challenge for WrestleMania. Then we had a 6-man tag featuring The Profits and Big E versus the Alpha Academy, which is Chad Gable and Otis, of course, and Apollo. Big E. Commentary said that Big E. They recapped what happened at Fastlane. They said Big E successfully defended his title, but then suffered a post-match beatdown by Apollo, and thus requested a title defense at Mania on night 2. So that's just how they're going to get to Mania. No promo being like, yo, we both beat each other, but you got the win. No this, no that, no this, no that. They just kind of brushed it off. And if they just do a singles match with them again, though, like, why? We just saw it, and we've seen it like a million times on TV, man. They have to find a way to make that like a last man standing or a no DQ or a fucking I quit, preferably, is what my preference would be, but they have to find a way to make that fucking something else. Anyways, there was a really cool sequence at the end where a bunch of people did a bunch of moves and shit to each other, which ended up with Apollo pinning Big E after hitting his angle slam, Olympic slam, whatever you want to call it. There's a really cool German and spinning discus thing with Otis and Gable. Gable had Dawkins in a German, the waist lock. Otis hit the ropes and did his spinning lariat, discus lariat, whatever you want to call it, into the German. Dawkins landed on like his head, but like safely because Gable's a fucking incredible human being, an incredible wrestler. And then, Ford gets involved. He sends Otis and Gable out. But Gable, he sends Otis out. Gable kind of hits the ropes to fuck with Montez, but Montez kind of moves and gets him out of the way. But Apollo tags into Gable, who was legal at the time. Then Montez hits the ropes, dives out onto Otis and Gable, and then Apollo gets in, hits the angle slam on Big E, and gets the win. I'm okay with this and also a little bit not okay with it because it's obviously not ideal to have your champion take a loss. Granted, it's part of a 6-man, it's part of a bunch of shit, so you could argue that it's okay. I mean, to plug my own shit. I've done it in my own shit before on my GM modes, right? So sparingly, I think it's fine because like I have used it before to build certain things. But yeah, man. If they would have done it maybe a little bit differently, because Apollo just straight up pinned him clean really after a sequence, right? It wasn't like Apollo had the rest of the guys do the dirty work and he took it or whatever, or like, you know what I mean? But then again, I'm fine with it. I mean, Apollo needs a win. Apollo got a stupid loss on Fastlane because it just, the way the finish played out, whether it was a botch or not, which maybe it was actually a botch because they're not acknowledging the fact that Apollo got hard done by. Commentary also put over how Big E has yet to get a decisive win over Apollo, which is maybe why he asked for a match with Apollo, which is just unequivocally not true. He has at least 2 decisive victories over Apollo on Smackdown. So I don't know what that's about. They're kind of just scrambling there. I feel like that's just commentary being like, hey, we know the creative is doing a shit job. We're going to do our best to try and salvage it to you guys listening at home. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm fine with Apollo picking up the win against E here. It's a 6-man, so it's fine. Granted, yeah, no, I'm fine with it because Apollo needs to look strong really to build up to Mania, right? Like you've had Apollo lose so many matches to Big E. Big E can take one here in a multi-man match. I think that's fine. The match quality was fine for the time allotted. Like I said, that ending sequence, I can't really recall it or like recap it or retell it off the top of my head, like move for move, but it was really, really cool. It was nice and high, fast pace, and it led into the finish pretty cool. So yeah, man. And also a big plus to this is that you know, the Alpha Academy, and more specifically Chad Gable, gets a win. I'd love to see Chad Gable in the upper mid card eventually in the future. Would absolutely love to see it. The dude is literally Kurt Angle 2.0, and they're not doing much with him. But, you know, they still got time. I mean, he's still a young athlete, so hopefully they smarten up and realize the star that they have on their hands with him in the future. But for what they're doing with Apollo and Big E, I think it's fine for now. I would like to see them in the next coming weeks try and make that match into a I Quit match or a last man standing or a hardcore falls count anywhere, whatever you may like, because with Big E wanting to kill him going into Fastlane, and then they go to Fastlane and now Apollo's beating him down after the win. Like Big E was restless on the apron and like really trying to get into a fight with Apollo kind of thing. But at the same time, if they just go to Mania and it's just a singles match, no gimmicks, it's like no stipulations. I mean, it's like, why? We've seen this like 5 times at least, I think. So hopefully they work a way in to make it a stipulation match, but we'll have to wait and see. Then backstage, we had Edge and Pierce saying, you know, don't tell me you're going to reward Bryan for his antics and shit like that. I mean, like, I won the Rumble. I earned my shot. Bryan has 2 losses to Roman. You know, what's there to think about? You know, Pierce says how he doesn't serve as Edge or Bryan or Roman, but the WWE Universe, and his decision is going to be made tonight. Edge then says, hope you make the right decision or else. Once again, because Edge is a big old heel now. So, yeah, man. Then we had the KO show with special guest Sami Zayn. Last week, Sami, you know, Kevin Owens talks about how even though he doesn't agree with Sami's, you know, conspiracy theory views, he wanted to come out here and support Sami last week. And what did it get him? His head nearly getting kicked off right there at commentary. So he has a question that only Sami can answer, which is why he invited him on the show. Sami comes out. He says, listen, I've known you long enough. I know what your question is. And the question is, am I sorry for kicking you? Yes, absolutely, unequivocally, I am sorry. I truly am. You know, I crossed the line kicking you that hard, kicking you at all. This conspiracy has been, you know, affecting my mental state. I crossed the line. I'm sorry. Kevin Owens says, you know, that's not my question. And he's like, oh, okay, no. See, I know what your real question is. Can you still be part of the documentary? And the answer to to that is also, yes, and here's a bombshell piece of exclusive news on the KO show. Next week, I'm going to be holding a red carpet premiere of the trailer of my documentary. And wait, there's more. Logan Paul, he's into the doc. He's going to be spreading the word, and he'll get eyes on it, and he will be a guest of honor next week. I don't know if this is like a bait and switch with Logan Paul, or if they actually just got Logan Paul to be on Smackdown, which would be kind of a meme, but you know what I mean? We'll have to wait and see till next year. I personally am very hyped for this red carpet premiere of the trailer of the documentary because I think it's going to be fucking fantastic. So I am very excited for next week's SmackDown. That segment specifically. Kevin Owens says how he doesn't care about the documentary, how he doesn't care about Logan, whether he's sorry or not. He only cares about his question. And then Sami cuts him off. He's like, oh, you don't care about this, you don't care about me, blah blah blah. You know what, you owe me an apology. You act like you're on my side, but you aren't. You're like all these other people. Kevin Owens cuts him off. He says, listen, stop talking, answer my question. The only reason I'm letting you stand in this ring, my ring, without beating you senseless is because I need an answer to the question. And the question is you and me one-on-one at Mania. Sami tries to talk him out of it, be like, this is a mistake. You don't want to do this. Kevin Owens, persists. He's like, yo, yes or no, yes or no. Sami's like, yes, fine. You happy now? Blah, blah, blah. And then Kevin Owens is like, now that I have my answer, like I said, I was only letting you in the ring without beating you senseless till I got my answer. Now that I have my answer, I'm going to beat you senseless. And then they brawl for a little bit with Kevin Owens coming out on top in the brawl. So yeah, man, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn at Mania, if they give him time, that's going to be a great match. I'm looking forward to the red carpet premiere next week. I'm looking forward to Kevin Owens crashing the premiere. I'm looking forward to hopefully Kevin Owens power bombing Logan Paul through some tables or something like he did to MGK all those years back. That would be a fucking meme, and that would be fantastic because Logan Paul is kind of dookie. But if they actually got him on the product, that's he has 23 million subs on YouTube, I think, is what they said on the show. So that's a lot of people who will be tuning into SmackDown for Logan, and maybe they get a couple fans stick around after that. You never know. So yeah, man. So yeah, I liked it. I liked the Kevin Owens show. I liked Kevin Owens explaining why he wasn't beating the shit out of him by saying, hey, I needed the answer, but guess what? Now that I got the answer, I'm just going to beat the shit out of you. I really liked that from Kevin Owens. I liked all of Sami's stuff because it plays into his character. Everything. Kevin Owens being tired of Sami and then eventually snapping and cutting him off, telling them to shut up and, listen and answer the question. I liked. Whole segment was good for me. Gets a thumbs up. Then we had Pierce and Bryan backstage. Pierce is like, okay, come on, Bryan. He's like, no, listen, I was GM of SmackDown. I know what you're going through. You're under pressure from Edge and Roman to keep the status quo, but I'm just going to say deep down, you know what the right decision is. You just have to make it. And then we had a Bianca backstage interview before her match against Natalya, where she was asked about her lack of reaction to the slap by Sasha at Fastlane. She says that she could have reacted, but then Sasha wouldn't have made it to WrestleMania. She says how her mama always told her to be the bigger person, and she was the bigger person at Fastlemania? What the fuck am I saying? Bigger person at Fastlane to be the better person at WrestleMania. Sasha doesn't lie. She tells the truth. She's the blueprint. She's the boss, blah, 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 but I'm better. She's going to beat her at Mania pretty much. But tonight she has unfinished business with Natalya. Then we had Bianca versus Natalya, with Tamina by her side, of course. I think they have new music for Natalya, or a remixed version, obviously, because it's still the Hart Foundation music, but or the Bret Hart music, but I feel like it's another remix of the already remixed version that they had. Granted, maybe she just hasn't. Maybe I just haven't been paying attention to her entrance music since I've started watching again in October. Maybe she had it back then, but she hasn't been on enough for me to have noticed it. I don't really know. I think it's new. If you know if it's new or not, let me know, because it sounded a bit different. So I'm thinking maybe they remixed it again, but I don't know. There was a point where Bianca got some decent momentum, got to the top rope. Sasha's music plays. She comes out. Bianca gets down from the top rope onto the apron, yells up the ramp at Sasha, asking what she's doing out here. Natalya tries to, capitalize, gets thwarted away as the ref is checking on Natalya. Tamina super kicks, I think, Bianca on the apron. She falls to the floor, and then Sasha mocks her as she's on the floor, clapping and stuff like that. So Sasha has to be full on heel now, right? And then we go to commercial. We come back from commercial. We got Sasha on commentary. There was a point near the end of the match where Bianca spilled out to ringside towards the commentary where Sasha was. Sasha told commentary that she's got to just teach something to the rookie. She gets in her face. Bianca pretty much has enough, slaps the shit out of Sasha, gets in the ring, beats Natalya with the KOD. But then as she's celebrating, Sasha gets in the ring and hits the backstabber on Bianca while she's celebrating. The weird thing with Sasha is like this is like a minor thing because like she does the thing that like guys like Triple H and stuff would do back in the day where when you're not wrestling, you're in formal attire. So like if she's not wrestling, she'll like show up to the show in like high heels and a dress or whatever. But every time she's done that, it feels like she has to get involved in like a beatdown or like a post-match attack or something. So she like always just ends up kicking her shoes off, and it's just so weird because it's like, why not just wear like a low-key outfit with like running shoes if you know you're gonna have to get in the ring and like do moves, right? But then again, appearances and whatnot, she has like the boss gimmick, so I guess it makes sense, but just thought that was funny. Yeah, man, I mean, Bianca winning is absolutely the right call. Bianca winning clean is absolutely the right call. Having her slap Sasha back is definitely something that you have to do, eye for an eye kind of thing. In wrestling, you kind of have to mirror stuff sometimes. So that's cool that they did that. Sasha getting the attack after the match makes sense. Sasha on commentary was okay. Like she got the point over at least. So that was fine. The match quality for Bianca and Natalya was kind of, there were kind of a couple of moments where like stuff was mistimed a little bit, or there was, not like a full on botch, but like the move wasn't performed cleanly or stuff like that. I don't really know what that was. Maybe a little communication issue. Maybe Bianca and Natalya haven't really been in the ring too much, so they don't have that chemistry yet. I don't really know. Not a bad match by any means, just kind of average, I guess, an average match there. But Bianca getting put over clean is absolutely the right call. Yeah, man, the stuff with, if they were going to have Sasha on commentary, they didn't really need her to come in mid-match, distract Bianca, and then go to commentary. You could have just had her at commentary from the start, because on commentary, she's like, yo, I'm here scouting, brother, before talking shit about Bianca, and then you could have just had her out there from the start scouting instead of having her mid-match distraction. Whatever. Minor thing, but something that they could have done a little bit different. Then we had Edge going into Roman's locker room. Jay immediately gets up. He's like, yo, you lost, dog? Edge is like, yo, if I was attacking you, it already would have happened, brother. Chill. Roman's like, you know what? It's ballsy coming in here like that. I kind of respect it, but you better get to the point or I'm going to let the dog loose, referring to Jay. Edge mentions how Bryan is trying to steal their spotlight. If Roman has the stroke that he claims he has, might be the best time to use it, because if Bryan's involved, then Edge doesn't have to beat Roman for the title. He can beat Bryan for it. So Edge is trying to get what he wants of a singles match by trying to appeal to Roman's championship advantage being kind of taken away by adding a third competitor. Then we had Rey versus Dolph, which was the in-ring main event of the night. They had a little mini-tron thing that got full screen and stuff while the entrances were happening of Rey backstage saying he thought, he accomplished everything, but the ultimate accomplishment would be winning the tag titles with his son Dominic. it would be the greatest accomplishment as a father and as an in-ring competitor. They had like a before the match thing played during the entrance. You know how they do. Before one of the commercial breaks, Dolph powerbombed Ray into the crowd, like where the virtual fans are. And, like, obviously they had a mattress out there or something because he's not taking a powerbomb just on a concrete like that. But, like, holy shit, the elevation and, like, the trajectory of the powerbomb looked insane. It was an insane spot. Dominic came over to check on Ray, and then he got a super kick from Dolph as he did that, and we went to commercial. Then near the end of the match, we had Ray set Dolph up for a 619. Rude got in the ring, stood in between them, didn't physically, getting involved to stop Ray, but he got in between them. Ray's like, what the fuck, dude? You're in the way. Dominic gets in. Him and Rude kind of fight for a little bit. Rude throws Dominic out. Ray gets Rude out of the ring. And then as Ray is trying to springboard outside of the ring to Rude, Dolph gets him with a zigzag on his way up, which was really, really cool. I have a problem with this because Ray kicked out of it. Not so much Ray kicking out of the move, and then a few moments go by, and then Ray wins with a 619 with Dominic stopping Rude from getting into the ring to break up the pin. I don't have a problem with Ray winning. I have a problem with Ray kicking out of that zigzag because that was such an insane zigzag, man. Because Ray, on his way up to springboard out at the height of his jump to get out of the ring to springboard to ringside, gets hit with a zigzag. That's a finish. That has to be a finish, brother. Unless it's like a world title match or something, that's fine to kick out of, but that has to be a finish to a match. You know what I mean? Or at least foot on the ropes kick out. You know what I mean? Because that's not an actual kick out, and those are two very different things. Serve the same purpose, but very different things. So if he got his foot to the ropes, I would have been happy, but he kind of actually kicked out. So I was like, I don't mind you kicking out and winning the match, Ray, because you need to build the Mania where they're probably just going to do Profits, Dirty Dogs, Mysterios, and Alpha Academy in a like four corners tag team thing. I feel like that's what they're going to end up doing for the SmackDown tag title side of things. But just, so like Ray winning is fine because then you kind of have some precedence to be like, yo, we should get a shot at those titles, even though it's not a tag match. One of your members did beat one of your members, and in a tag match, only one member has to pin one member. So you can like loosely be like, hey, one of our tag team has the better of one of your tag team. The other one might have the better of the other guy. You know what I'm saying? It can be a call for a title shot loosely, pretty much. So, like, I think that's fine. Ray and Dolph, that's fine. Dolph is a tag team champion, so a singles loss isn't the end of the world, so that's fine. And Ray getting a win is fine because it can build to the tag match. I really don't like Ray kicking out of that zigzag from the springboard. I really don't think that they should have done that. It's not the end of the world. It's just I think that was such a cool spot and such a cool move that probably should have finished a match. So, yeah, man. But otherwise, I thought it was fine. I thought it was good. I mean, they got decent time. They had a good match. Ray winning is fine. Even if Dolph won, that's fine. It doesn't really matter for this one. But yeah, man. Rude getting involved without physically getting involved, and then Dominic coming for the save, I thought was okay. Yeah, man, as Ray and Dominic were walking up the stage after celebrating, Pierce comes out. Roman's music hits. He comes out. We go to commercial. We come back with Pierce and Roman in the ring. They piped in "You tapped out" chants, which Roman got upset to. Not like pissed off yelling and stuff, but like he was like clenching his jaw and stuff like that. So yeah, man. Then Edge made his entrance. Then Bryan made his entrance. Pierce says that all the concerns raised make sense. Edge, your concerns make sense. You won the Rumble, blah, blah, blah. That makes sense. Roman, you make sense. You know what I'm saying? You're there to defend on one night, blah, blah, blah. That makes sense. However, what Bryan says makes sense. There is a double standard. He deserves a title shot. Roman, you're right, blah, blah, blah. You're only going to have one title defense. My decision is that you three will have a triple threat match for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania. Roman kind of gets upset at Pierce, but Edge and Bryan start a brawl. Bryan gets the upper hand on Edge in the corner, goes into a Superman punch by Roman. Jay then gets him a chair after Roman tells him to get him a chair. Edge spears Roman while he's waiting to hit Bryan with the chair. Jey Uso also has a chair, gets in the ring, swings and misses, and then gets hit with a spear by Edge. And then Edge hits both Roman and Bryan with the chairs for a little bit, and then sets each of them up for a concerto, one chair under each of their heads. Goes out of the ring, gets a third chair. Jay comes in for the save. Eats a bunch of chair shots from Edge with the chair. At this point, Roman has rolled out of the ring and is leaving the ring with Paul Heyman at his side. However, Bryan is trying to crawl out of the ring. Edge prevents that from happening, grabs his legs, brings him in, sets him up for a concerto, and then some agents come down to stop him. He hits the ginger one, which I don't know his name. Maybe Pat Buck? Is that the red hair agent that they have? Is that, because that name kind of sounds familiar? And then Jamie Noble both take chair shots. You know what I'm saying, before Edge sets up a chair in the middle of the ring, sits down on it, and then stares directly into the hard cam with a very serious look on his face. And that was Smackdown, man. A good Smackdown, you know what I'm saying? A good Smackdown. I mean, the opening of the show, I think, probably wasn't great to open the show, but the point of the segment itself in a vacuum, I thought was good to start things off. Like I said, maybe not the best idea to start off your show by pausing the show for like 10 minutes, but for the purpose, the promos, everything like that, I thought it was fine. Excuse me. I thought Seth and Shinsuke, although the rematch didn't make sense to have, and the fact that Shinsuke is a pawn in a feud is a little bit unfortunate. It was a good match for the time that they were allotted. Seth gets another win. You advance Cesaro, and then in the backstage, you advance Cesaro and officially announce that. The six-man did a good job of making Apollo look kind of strong because he got to pin Big E in multi-man competition, so you do protect Big E a little bit there while also making Apollo look good, so it's fine. The Pierce stuff, making his decision all night, built hype for the main event. You had everybody's motives, shown. You know what I mean? Roman was just like, hey, listen, I'm not doing double duty. Fuck out of here. I'm wrestling once. So he was about like, hey, you're not bossing me around. I control my schedule. Edge was like, hey, don't let Bryan get my shot. It's my shot. Do the right thing. And then Bryan was like, hey, you know what the right thing is. Do it. Each of them have their motives. Each of them makes sense. Good shit. Throughout the night, and it built hype to the reveal. Kevin Owens show, the whole segment I liked. You know what I'm saying? The Bianca match, her winning was fine. The match quality itself, like I said, was average. It wasn't too great. The stuff she said in the backstage, I liked her saying she was the bigger person at Fastlane, so she could be the better person at Mania. I like that wordplay, so that's fine. And then I didn't like Sasha coming out during the match. It is what it is, but you could have just had her on commentary from the start. Her getting the slap reciprocated that she dished out on Sunday was good. Her attacking Bianca after the match is good. Edge going into Roman's room because he's so desperate to not have Bryan in the match, and then trying to play with, Roman's motivations to get his own shit. I like that. Because it's heel Edge now. Ray versus Dolph was good in ring. Some cool spots, some cool moves. I don't like that super cool zigzag got kicked out of, but other than that, all good. And then the main event promo with the triple threat reveal and all that stuff, all good. So, yeah, man, that was a good SmackDown for me. Maybe like a 7.5, 8 out of 10. It was definitely up there, man. I really enjoyed it. Because, yeah, man, it built towards Mania a little bit. You had a couple more matches announced. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and then Big E and Apollo, and then also Cesaro and Rollins. We have two more, if I just pull out the calendar right here. So Mania is on the 10th and 11th. So we've got two more SmackDowns and two more Raws before Mania week. Before the Mania 1 and 2. So, I mean, they've got 2 more SmackDowns to build those matches. They got 2 more Raws to build those Raw matches. So we'll see what they do in those 2 weeks leading up to it. And yeah, man, but yeah, that was a good SmackDown for me. Like I said, 7.5, 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Like I said, there were the things that I didn't like in there, but overall, I thought it was a good, serviceable show. Once again, let me know what you guys thought of SmackDown in the comments. Do you disagree or agree with my opinion? Did you like some of the things I liked or disliked? Let me know all that shit down in the comments. It's pretty cool to hear your guys' opinions. And yeah, man, if this is the first video that you're watching on the channel, man, you can check out some of the other stuff I do on the channel. I do primarily gameplay stuff, wrestling gameplay stuff, specifically my Smackdown vs. Raw 2006 GM mode that's going right now. I have other GM modes as well, but I book storylines in those GM mode series, so if you'd like to see how I book wrestling after I critique wrestling, you know what I mean, you can go ahead and do that. I also do other stuff that's more commentary based without the booking. All of that shit's on the channel. Go check it out if you'd like. You can join the Discord server down in the comments below, down the description below. You can also follow me on Twitter down in the description below. Please sponsor me, PC, obligatory sponsor me gimmick. Gotta get that in there. Be sure to turn on notifications so you never miss an episode, because YouTube likes to zuck your boy, and I'll put my videos in your sub boxes. So by pressing that nice old bell icon, you will get a push notification anytime I do upload, and you'll never have to miss it. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, share it to all your friends, comment down below, all that good shit, and I will see you guys next time.